got a great turnout. Nina, our special keynote speaker, our guest of honor, is here today. That made my day when I heard that she accepted our invitation to come. As you all know, she's quite a warrior for all of us. So I want to welcome you all, sister warriors and brother warriors that love us, and happy National Women's History Month. Last night I was reading a book by Gail Collins. It's called, oh goodness, the title is America's Women, 400 Years of Dolls, Drudges, Helpmates, and Heroines. It's a great book. Well, I'm up to mid-1800s now, okay? So my husband was in the other double bed at the hotel, and I said, hey, hon, I got to read this to you. Get this. This is how they thought of women. And back in the day, I tell you what, the way they describe women, it's amazing that we are capable of doing anything considering how delicate our natures are. Anyway, many doctors believed that during a woman's period, I hope I'm not offending anybody, but that's just, you know, that's our mechanism, right? They believed that women were deprived of blood to the brain. Okay? Leaving them idiotic, okay, or temporarily insane, you know. An early onset menstruation was regarded as a sign a girl might be oversexed. And some doctors encourage parents to keep their young daughters on a vegetarian diet because meat, supposedly, was a sexual stimulant.
See there?
Yeah. No meat, gals. No meat. And one professor of medicine thought that it was, quote, as if the Almighty, in creating the female sex, had taken a uterus and built it around the woman. Just more uterus, see? And then they just built us all around this box. Okay? And you know what? Not much has changed. Not much has changed. Because we have legislators now who want to take us backward. And y'all have heard of Todd Akins? Yeah. Well, remember what he said? He said, legitimate rape, the legitimate rape argument, according to him, we women have a built-in mechanism to prevent pregnancy in the case of rape. Talk about idiotic, right? Well, I remember as a young girl, they had these little starter kits, little Kotex boxes, you know, and I don't remember there being little asterisks on there that said, in case of rape, press your belly button and download that prevention thing, that little mechanism. You know, I don't think little 13-year-old girls who get raped, some of them raped by their own fathers, uncles, some strangers, and many times it's people they know. And those little gals, if they're told something like this, we've got a man, elected official, talking like this, why she thinks she's protected. She's not going to want to talk about it anyway. So her pregnancy's going to go unnoticed till she feels life. Score one for the anti-choicers. That's what they want. Period. That's their idea of life. So, now, let's see why we're celebrating. We can go back in time. And on your tables, you might see little frames with some of the suffragists, quite notable ones. We have Lucretia Mott, Sojourner Truth, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Susan B. Anthony, Harry Chapman Catt, Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Wells. We have, of course, Alice Paul, and several others. Those are just a handful. That's a handful. And there's so many more. There were so many more dedicated women from the 17th century who fought for liberty, who were smart, they weren't idiots, and they certainly were not insane. But, like Tammy said, there's no history. We rarely hear about these unsung heroes. So that's why we feel it's so important to move on into the 21st century and give everyone full equality under the Constitution. United States of America, home of the brave, land of the free. But are we? Are we? Bad things are happening. Our voting rights are at stake. Horrible draconian ID laws going on. They're going to affect women, young and old, single and poverty, minority women, minorities, students, you name it, everybody but those 1%ers. It's not going to hurt them. But that's by design, isn't it? That's by design. So with Alice Paul, there's a little bit of something she did back in the 20th century. She challenged conventional thought to pressure the government to grant women the right to vote. She organized and participated in mass meetings, teas like this, big parades. Boy, my lips are dry. Yeah.
Someone have water there.
Sure. Vigils, demonstration to expose the grave injustice of and I can't even say it because my mouth is stuck together. They couldn't vote. In 1917, Paul's newly formed National Women's Party staged the first ever picket in front of the White House to protest President Wilson's inaction regarding women's rights. So where did that land her? It landed her in prison. It landed her in an insane ward of the prison. In fact, President Wilson said this. It was he and other men on his staff. They even tried to persuade a psychiatrist to declare Alice Paul insane. But you know, the doctor, he said, he refused that. He said to the men, courage in women is often mistaken for insanity. So there you go. So, ultimately, they did win the right to vote. And it was a hard-fought victory. In fact, it had been 75 years. I mean, these women were doing this for years. And the thing is that Alice Paul, she knew she had many degrees, master's degrees, doctorates. And she was a brilliant legal mind. And she knew that the vote wasn't going to be enough. It wasn't going to be enough. We were going to have full equality in our Constitution. That is pretty insane. Insane. So, equality, this is what it says, her amendment. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex. It's a very simple concept. So here we are, as Tammy said, in the 21st century. She called the 20th century the vote, the great demand. And Ronnie, what did she say? Remember what?
Deeds, not words.
Deeds, not words. That's right. So what we're all presenting here, and we're going to proclaim, the 21st century demand is full equality and the ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment. Thank you. Scott Wharton, and he is running in Ohio 15th Congressional District. Would you like to come up and say a few words, Scott? Thank you.
I'm going to revert back to the military style. We used to talk without a microphone, and my daughter tells me I got a loud voice anyway. So it's an honor for my campaign to be a host today and to give you a little background on myself. I grew up just up the road in Amanda, Ohio. It's about 15-20 miles from here. It's a small rural farming community, about 600 people. I'm a graduate of Amanda Clear Creek High School and Ohio University. I'm also a retired Air Force officer and Desert Storm veteran, which is something I'm very proud of because 5 generations of my family have served in the military since the Civil War. I'm currently a captain with Delta Airlines. If you have any airline questions, you please see me afterwards. I'll be glad to answer those. I probably can't find your luggage, but I'll
Can you find the plane in Malaysia?
I've got some ideas on that, yes. The news is not exactly on par with what a professional pilot thinks. So, while I'm at Delta Airlines, I've been a member of the Airline Pilots Association, so I am proud to say I'm a card-carrying union member. And I also own and operate the Flying W Farm. It's a family farm up at Amanda. We raise corn, soybeans, wheat, and even a few chickens. And I get asked all the time, why am I running for office? And a lot of things go into that decision, but what I can really point to that got me started down this path is about 6-7 years ago, senior management from the corporation I work for made the decision to take my company into bankruptcy court to obtain concessions from my union they couldn't get through collective bargaining. In this bankruptcy process, I lost 42% of my pay. I had my work rules decimated and my pension was dumped on the PBGC. This instilled in me a desire to want to become more active in my surroundings and have some effect on the outcome. That and during the Great Recession, I had 2 children who graduated from college who were looking to get their career started, looking for good jobs, and they were having trouble doing that. So I told them, rather than have us sit around and complain about what's happened to us, let's make a difference, let's get off the couch and let's do something about it. So that's why I'm standing before you here today. Now, an issue that's really important to our campaign is equality and fairness. We believe in equal opportunity regardless of gender, equal opportunity regardless of race, and equal opportunity regardless of sexual orientation. And under this falls women's rights. And I'm going to probably embarrass my daughter a bit, but my daughter Heather is right here. She's my campaign manager. She's also running for Fairfield County Clerk of Courts this fall. But as a parent, when you see things through your children's eyes, it really brings it home. And the things that we need to work on for women's rights, first of all, the Republican war on women here in Ohio has to end. It's just too much. It's got to end. Women's reproductive health. I think that women's reproductive health, the decisions in women's reproductive health should be between a woman, her family, and her doctor, and the government has no say in that decision whatsoever. And finally, the ERA, it's well overdue to be ratified. And when I'm elected, I promise I will support ratification of the ERA. To win this election this fall, I need your support. In fact, people like you are why I'm going to win this election. And once again, we're honored to be here. And I'll leave you with this. As an airline captain, every day when I go to work, hundreds of people trust me with their lives. You can trust me to be your representative. Thank you.